Thursday. Get ready for those two big words.
You are hired.
The stage is set, and it's coming to you live. The Apprentice season finale, Thursday on NBC.
Have you or someone you know suffered a serious injury in an accident? It's never easy to take action against the insurance industry. That's why you need someone with experience in the courtroom. I'm Ed Wilborski, a personal injury lawyer with over 25 years of experience. I can help you handle your lawsuit for serious injuries due to an accident. Remember the name, Ed Wilborski. You can find me on the spine of your Bell South phone book.
Want to know my secret to a great night out? It's staying in and having fun talking to singles on Lifelinks. It's the place with the most local singles, and you can try it for free. Finding real people you like is easy, and you get to know them before you meet them. Why go out when you can have fun on Lifelinks? Call now and try Lifelinks for free.
Try Lifelinks free, 850-392-0255.
I'm calling now. How about you?
WJHG-TV, working in the spirit of the Panhandle.
Are you drowning in debt? Are your credit card bills getting higher and higher? Are you tired of all those harassing phone calls morning, noon, and night? Perhaps you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Have you missed mortgage payments or car payments? If you're experiencing financial difficulty, there is hope and help. Welcome to the Bankruptcy Hour. My name is Steve Jurnovoy. I'm here with my partner Martin Lewis, and we're from the law firm of Lewis and Jurnovoy, located downtown. We're going to be here for the next hour, taking your phone calls on Chapter 7, Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Please give us a call here on the show. And Martin, welcome to another installment.
Stephen, it's good to be here. Always happy to address people's questions, their concerns regarding financial problems. We are here to try and help everyone. I'd like to say hello to my wife and daughter, who I know are watching tonight, and happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. Stephen, you know, financial problems, they just keep on going. It doesn't seem, it seems like no matter how hard we try, no matter how hard we work and try and manage our money, there's always something out there that's pulling away our money. And for example, the price of gasoline, which, you know, has just gone out of the ceiling. I mean, that's something that really affects the bottom line.
I mean, Martin, that, you know, that hits you right in the pocket.
Sure
It
does.
could be an extra $50 to $100 a month just to go out and buy the gas for the car. And then you don't even see the other increases, because while you're paying that $50 or $100, the guy that's bringing the milk and the bread to the grocery store is paying it too, and they're just passing the cost along to you. So, you know, your food costs are probably also going up. And, you know, when people are on a tight budget, Martin,
right,
and, you know, they need every dollar they can just to make payments, when they get hit with these unexpected increases, you know, that's when they start having problems. And, you know, maybe they're making the minimum payments on the credit cards, but now they can't. Maybe they can't afford the mortgage anymore because they get pounded by the credit card company saying, give me money, give me money. And they, you know, it just scares these people. And, you know, they're paying the credit cards, and now there's no money for the mortgage or the car payment.
Right, and there's only so much money to go around. And, you know, just the increase in gas alone is enough to take away 1 or 2 monthly payments that somebody may be making, for instance, on a credit card, or maybe a furniture purchase or an electronic purchase, and all of a sudden you don't have that money anymore. It's gone. I mean, what are you going to do? You have to go buy your gasoline to take you to and from work, and go see the doctor and to the store and all the places. So that's money that has to be spent.
And Martin, you know, a lot of people out there, especially the seniors out there, who may not, you know, use their money for something, instead of, you know, paying a medical bill or getting the proper medication that they need
Right.
to take care of themselves. We see a lot of that happening, where people come in saying, I just can't afford my medicine, and, I just go without it, and whatever's going to happen, happens. And, when they're paying more money out for gasoline and other products, they're not taking care of themselves properly.
And we see that so much, Stephen, every day in our office. The people who come in and tell us that they can't afford medicine because we're always concerned about people's health and the cost of maintaining one's health. And it's really sad when, there's not enough money for people to go out and buy their blood pressure medicine or their cholesterol medicine just because there's not enough money there, and there's no government benefit plan or no plan to help them cover those types of costs.
And Martin, this thing doesn't just affect people on a minimum wage or just making some type of hourly wage. It really hits everyone because it doesn't matter how much money you make. It seems like even the doctors out there who supposedly make a lot of money, well, they probably spend a lot of money too.
Right.
And they have their toys, and when gas prices go up or things go up, we've had some doctors that have been clients, and they run into the same problems as everyone else. It's just a different degree. And when more money goes out each time, there's less for something else, and everyone runs into the problem. Martin, when someone asks us, who's our typical client? I mean, what do we usually tell people?
It's just everyone. It could be just about anyone. It's hard to pick out a typical client of our law firm because financial problems seem to go across all ages, and it doesn't matter what race you are, or how old you are, or what your marital status is, or what type of business it is that you have. You can have financial problems.
I mean, we have people that that are in college.
Right.
That, they just get hooked on the credit cards. They go on campus and these credit card companies just bombard them. Well, this is the first time they're away from home and they get this credit card and they don't understand that these things have to get paid back each month, and, they start getting into trouble, and it just kind of snowballs on them real fast, and they may, pay their living expenses on a credit card, and soon it just, they can't hack it anymore. We have, senior citizens who, go from having a job onto some type of fixed income where they can't maintain their, same standard of living, and that's a problem. We have, divorcees who now, they're paying, for themselves now, and they're not used to that. It may be a one-income family that's now split, and they have to run two households. We have, people who have, lost their jobs, some type of medical disability, and it just goes on, and it could be your next-door neighbor.
Stephen, and that credit card usage, you mentioned it starts in college for most people, and I guess when you get your first credit card back in college, it's almost like a novelty. It's, hey, I've got a credit card, I've got some little extra money to spend, let's go out and use it. And then you start getting into the middle class of America as you get older, and it seems like you just need extra money to try and make ends meet each month. So the credit card becomes a convenient tool to do extra purchases and buy things that maybe you just quite can't afford. And of course, if you don't watch out, that'll build up on you. And then you get to the senior citizens with the credit cards, and it's like a complete reversal from the college student. They're using the credit card really for basic survival. Some of them are doing the robbing Peter to pay Paul, pulling cash off the credit card to put cash in their bank account and then using that cash to pay other debts, or they're using it to go to see the doctor, to pay for the medicines that they can't afford. So we really have to be careful with these credit cards. They're hitting us through all stages of life, and they can be very devastating.
And Martin, it's not even, when people run into some problems, they're on such a tight budget that, if the tires go out on the car and they need new tires, well, that's pretty much a necessity item. But what it does is, they don't have the $400 or $500 it's going to take to put tires on the car. They'll go use the credit card, and they'll do that, and maybe in another type of an emergency, and pretty soon, you're getting a pretty good balance on there where you can't pay everything that you have to, and that's when you start hitting the late fees and over the limit fees, and things start to snowball from there. Let's go to the phones. We do have a call. Karen, welcome to the Bankruptcy Hour. How can we help you?
I've got a few questions to ask.
Okay.
First of all, if you're not contemplating bankruptcy for a year, at least a year, then you take, and put things in other people's names.
Okay, I think that's a good question, and it's a fair question. You have to understand that it is a crime. It's a federal crime to transfer property with intent to file bankruptcy and deprive your creditors of that piece of property. Now, that transfer can be set aside for many, many years. So at this point, the bankruptcy laws require that we disclose any transfers within a year. But that doesn't mean they can't set aside transfers outside a year. And not only can they set it aside, but you may end up putting yourself in jail over it. So you have to be careful about trying to transfer property out of your names. What you're thinking about, people have thought about for tens and tens and tens of years.
Well, my father just left me some property.
Right, and that's, that's potentially a problem.
I don't want to lose it.
I understand that, but when you file bankruptcy, and I'm not saying you're not going to be honest, but you have to be honest. And you have to disclose certain things. And for some people, there's a cost of filing bankruptcy, and that cost may be the loss of an asset or some assets. So then you have to weigh the cost of the loss of the asset versus the benefit of filing the bankruptcy and receiving a discharge of your debts. Most people who file bankruptcy don't lose anything.
What if you only owe $16,000?
Well, then you may want to look at the value of the asset that you're inheriting and then go and settle with your creditors and pay them some money and be done with it and not even file the bankruptcy. I mean, if you're inheriting a...
$15,000 credit cards, and the property's been appraised at $73,000.
Yeah, I think that, you have to look at some either, maybe you want to sell the property, or maybe there's some other way to resolve it with your creditors. Now, is that a home that you're going to inherit?
It's got a home on it, yes.
Are you going to go live there?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, that's definitely not an asset that's going to be protected in bankruptcy, and I would be extremely careful about trying to transfer property around and then go seeking bankruptcy relief at a later time. You could find yourself in a situation that's much worse than the situation you're in today.
Okay, I thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for the phone call.
All right.
Martin, she mentioned the fact that, she had about $16,000 in debt. And we get the question all the time, well, how much debt do you really need to file bankruptcy? There's not really, any type of answer for that. It really depends on your ability to repay that particular debt. So we have some clients that may only have $3,000 or $4,000 of debt, but they may be on a fixed income like Social Security, making $600 or $700 a month, and they might as well have $100,000 of debt. It's just never going to get paid back, because that $600 or $700 is just going for the bare necessities for them to live each and every month. And for them to have $2,000 or $3,000 of debt, they may be a candidate for a bankruptcy. So it really just depends on your income, your expenses that takes you to to live each month, and the amount of debt really sometimes it doesn't really matter.
Stephen, and let me add one more thing for that last caller. I see we have another one on the line. It is possible that the caller who wanted to transfer the property, depending on that person's ability, they could go into repayment bankruptcy of Chapter 13, and we could fashion a repayment schedule that would allow that person to keep that property, even though it would not necessarily have been protected if you had filed the other bankruptcy, the Chapter 7.
And Martin, when people come into our office on a free appointment, these are the things that we go over, whether an asset is in jeopardy, and if there is something in jeopardy, this is how we can work around it to try and get it resolved and for you to keep most of your or all of your property. Let's take another call.
Okay.
Deborah, welcome to the show. How can we help you?
Yes, I thank you for taking my call. I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
How would it affect my husband's credit if I file bankruptcy on my own? And also, can they come and take away my home or my car?
Well, those are excellent questions. And the first one, typically, let me take a step back. that you can file a bankruptcy case without your spouse, and a lot of people don't realize that. So if you're married, both of you don't have to file. So in your particular case, if you end up filing, it will be on your credit record for up to a 10-year period. And that doesn't mean you can never borrow money during the 10 years. It just means there's going to be an entry on your credit record. Now, as far as your husband's concerned, if you're on any type of joint debt with him, maybe you're joint on a mortgage, or maybe there's one credit card in both your names, it can show up on your husband's credit report that you filed a bankruptcy. Not that he did, but that you did. Yeah. And it's just an entry on there showing that the co-signer had filed bankruptcy. And if the payments are still current and they're still being made, it may not affect them at all. As far as the bankruptcy case, he's not going to be a part of it, but we would have to disclose any of his income and his living expenses on the bankruptcy petition. But his name doesn't go on the petition, and he doesn't per se have a bankruptcy on his credit.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Stephen, she also, if you want to hang that up, you can. She also asked about her house and her vehicle. And generally, in the state of Florida, your house is protected. And it really depends on whether you live in the county or in the city limits and how much property that you have. And again, that's something we go over with people. And with regard to the automobile, she made mention of that also. It's just going to depend on what your vehicle is worth and whether there's any equity in it or not, as to whether there's a problem retaining it. Generally, we don't have a problem with people retaining their automobiles.
And if there is a loan on the house or the car, that does have to get paid, so that a bankruptcy isn't going to wipe that out if you want to keep the asset. Okay, let's take another call.
Okay.
Robert, welcome to the show. How can we help you?
Yes, I got a question I'd like to ask you, then I'll hang up, listen to the answer.
Okay.
With your credit card companies and medical bills, when you get a bunch of them run up, if you don't pay them, just tell them, all right, y'all, good luck, collect them, forget it, and let it roll on. I've noticed my credits came up all the way to 650 because I just, told them good luck, and I'm still able to get financing for a house, financing for a car, because there's lenders out there right now that don't care about medical bill liens and credit card judgments. All right, I was wondering, is that something you have to worry about later on? Is them trying to come back after 7-8 years?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because we tell people that sometimes. You don't need to do anything. You just need to let it ride. But most of the people that we tell that to are senior citizens. And there's really not much that the creditors can do to that particular person to collect the money. A lot of times for us, it may depend on how old someone is and what they're trying to do in life and where they're going and what type of credit they're going to need in the future. If you do nothing, it's possible that they're going to sue you and get a loss and get a judgment against you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to end up having to pay the money, because then they have to collect on the judgment. So then the question becomes, are you collectible or not? And that depends on your type of income, whether you have dependents or not, and things like that. So for some people, it may be okay just to let it ride, but for other people, it may not be. And it may be years and years before you're able to purchase things. Now, I agree with you. There's plenty of credit out there. Bankruptcy or not, bad credit or not, people are out there to loan you money. Generally, though, the worse your credit, the higher the interest rate you'll pay, which means you shovel out a lot more interest each year than your average person.
And Martin, there is a point where, people try and go and buy cars, and, a lot of car dealers tell them, well, we can't do a thing, but if you go file bankruptcy, as soon as you get your discharge, come on in, I'll get you a loan. And I had 2 people in at the end of last week in that situation where, they were sent to us by, a couple of the local car dealers because they just couldn't get them into any loans. These were all old debts, and it sounds kind of like your situation, but so it just really depends, what you're looking at, and, you may have a higher income than some of these people, and that may, that may be one of the reasons.
Well, can they collect a medical bill in the state of Florida? They keep hollering what they can do, and I've noticed they really can't do nothing. And, I try to aggravate them when they call, drag out their phone calls, and just really to annoy them.
Well, sure. They can sue you for medical services.
Yeah, but all they got's a piece of paper, right?
Well, I mean, then that's what a judgment's for, and then you have to try and collect on the judgment. So the question becomes, are you collectible or not? Is there something?
You just have your household, one house, and a vehicle, and everything else in somebody else's name, they're basically just out of luck, ain't they?
Well, that's probably correct. Again, it may depend on whether your house is fully protected and whether your vehicle is fully protected. In most cases, the house is.
And whether you're working or not, so they, you know,
and whether
if you're
you
not,
have dependents.
Right.
Can they garnish you wages in Florida for
Yes.
medical bills?
Yes.
Absolutely. But again, it depends on your situation as whether you're single or whether you have dependents, how much income you have, and things of that nature.
All right, Martin, we're going to have to go to a break, and when we come back, we have a bunch of callers on hold. Keep the calls coming. They really do help everyone out there. Martin and I have a free appointment. Give us a call at the office to set one up. Our phone number's on the screen throughout the show, and we'll be right back.
It's easy to do. You get a handful of credit cards, a mortgage, a car loan.
Then something unforeseen happens. Layoff, medical bills, divorce. You get hurt and you can't work.
That's when the harassing phone calls can start and the sleepless nights. It can snowball very quickly.
And now you think you could lose everything. There may be help available.
At Lewis and Jurnovoy, we may be able to help you dig out of a bad situation and get back on your feet.
Lewis and Jurnovoy, we may be able to help.
Well, Jim, we're down to our last few laps of this race.
That's right, Bob, and the fans are on their feet for the finish.
Looks like the quality car is coming in for a pit stop.
Watch the speed and agility of the pit crew as he tops the fuel, checks the tires, and cleans the windshield.
Wow, now that's fast service.
The quality car is back on the track and headed for the finish.
But look, the competitor has lost control.
And he hits the wall hard.
Not to worry, Quality Service Wrecker is always on call.
Well, it looks like at Quality Service and Towing, everyone's a winner. Remember to call on or stop by
when your car or truck needs service or repair.
Hi, I'm Sam Rogers with Canella Manzic Realty. I want to welcome you to 5840 Dogwood Drive in Milton, Florida. This is a location of a former funeral home. It's 7 acres of land and a 6,600 square foot building. The price is $975,000. Welcome to 5840 Dogwood Drive. Let's take a tour. This building was designed as a funeral home, but it's very flexible as far as use. It can be an office complex. With the additional acreage, it can also be multi-family, and this could be a rec center. When you go inside, you'll see that there's plenty of open space inside that you can do whatever with. We'll go into the chapel area and various other areas. It's got a large garage in the back. All of this could be improved to be an air-conditioned area to make it over probably 8,000 square feet. If you have any questions on this property or any other properties, don't hesitate to give me a call. Sam Rogers, Canella Manzic Realty, 850-572-0057, or again, my website, realestatesam.com. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Bankruptcy Hour. My name is Steve Jurnovoy. I'm here with my partner, Martin Lewis. We're from the law firm of Lewis and Jurnovoy, located downtown. We're here taking phone calls on Chapter 7, Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Give us a call here on the show, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. And Martin, let's go right back to the phones.
Okay.
Karen, welcome to the show. How can we help you? Karen, you there? Okay, let's go to another line. Angela?
Yes.
You there?
Hold on, let me turn my television down.
Okay.
My question is, okay, you was just speaking about certain ages of, when you have a credit card that you have to pay for or whatever, and certain ages and how their income and all, varies in it and everything.
Right.
Okay, well, for someone who's on handicap disability and they owe money to a credit card, how can they, if I can't, well, I've been having problems trying to pay it, to you too.
Sure.
And how can they backfire on my income, so to speak, because it's a disability from my father, who's been passed away years ago. And how can they backfire on my disability in getting this money if I can't pay it?
Is the income that you're receiving, is that coming from the government?
Yes, it is.
Okay, has somebody tried to garnish that income or take it from you at this
No,
point?
it hasn't been touched.
Okay, well, generally,
I know so far. But my question is, how can they, take it from me?
it doesn't sound
Because I have no assets, as you all were talking about.
right.
I'm disabled. I don't drive. I don't own a car. I don't own a home. I rent. So, my question is, how can they take any of my disability for this payment? And that's just like you're saying, I'm paying Peter, I'm robbing Peter to pay.
Right. Well, I don't think, it doesn't sound like from the situation you just described that they can. Doesn't mean that they're not going to try, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be successful. What we normally do, tell someone in your situation is, you may want to move your bank account, you may want to change your phone number to prevent the phone calls, and you may just be able to ignore them. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't sue you and serve you with legal papers and haul you into court and make you give a deposition, but that still doesn't mean that they're going to collect any money from you. Okay, so they can attempt to collect the money and try and collect the money and continue to try as the years go on, but it doesn't mean that they'll ever collect anything from you. So you may be what we call uncollectible. Okay, but I mean, it doesn't mean that they're going to go away. And these credit card companies, they don't care that you're disabled. Yeah. They don't care about that. They're a business, they're a corporation. They're concerned about the bottom line. And that means that they want to go out and collect their money. So they don't really care about your own personal problems that you have.
I kind of thought that's the way they had been built.
But I mean, if they're bugging you and harassing you, I just call the phone company and change my number and make it unlisted. And then once you do that, don't ever call them again. Because they have caller ID, and then they'll pick up your new phone number and start bugging you all over again.
Well, thanks for the call. We appreciate it.
Okay, and that was a good call.
Second question.
Okay.
Let me see what it was. I kind of forgot what it was. But if I'll call back at another time.
Okay. Now, we offer a free appointment, too, and you're more than welcome to take advantage of it.
All right, let's take another call.
Okay.
Jeff, welcome to the Bankruptcy Hour.
Hi, I was just calling to see how much cash reserves are you allowed to keep if you do file Chapter 7?
Well, generally in a Chapter 7, you can keep certain assets. You're allowed to keep generally $1,000 of personal property, which includes whatever money's in your bank account. And the way they value your property is at a garage sale value. So, most people in Chapter 7 don't end up losing anything. And there's different ways we can work around that requirement, but you're basically allowed to have $1,000.
And that really, it does vary, because if you're a wage earner and you have a family and dependents, the law says possibly you could accumulate wages for up to 6 months in your bank account and be protected. If you're on Social Security and you're accumulating a little Social Security money or disability money or retirement money in a bank account, that money may also be protected. And there's different exemptions or allowances for IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, cash surrender value and life insurance, which are all sort of cash reserves out there. So it's more complicated than just your question. We have to know more about you and where the money is being held and how it was generated as to tell you whether we think that money is going to be protected or not.
If you've just purchased an item like a new car and paid for that outright, are you still allowed to keep that?
I don't know. Is it like a 2005 Jaguar or Mercedes or Porsche? You don't think so? It's really going to depend on what the vehicle is worth. Some states protect a fully paid for car. What this state concentrates on is the equity in your car, and they don't give you a big allowance, so it's really going to depend on what your automobile is worth, if it's fully paid for. If it's not fully paid for, it's going to depend on what the equity is in your vehicle. Now, even if you exceed what the law allows you to keep in the state of Florida, doesn't mean you're going to lose it. It may be that we need to work something out with the court where you can still keep it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thanks for the call.
Okay, you know, Martin, we've been getting a lot of questions on the new bankruptcy law. What's the status of that?
Stephen, the status is that there's a lot of learning to do. So the new bankruptcy law is very comprehensive. It was passed or signed by the president about 3 weeks ago. It's going to go into effect. The majority of it goes into effect around the 3rd week of October. Some of the provisions became effective immediately, and most of those provisions deal with people's homestead and moving from one state to another in order to take the benefit of one state's bankruptcy laws over another. So those went into effect immediately. For most people who it hasn't impacted them at all. Now, it will impact people come around the 3rd week of October of 2005. The general push is to try and make it more difficult for people to file Chapter 7 and encourage people or push people into the repayment case of Chapter 13. Now, we've looked at the law. We're still studying it. It's nothing you can learn and study in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And frankly, even in 6 months, nobody's going to know the complete effect of this law. It's actually will take years and years and years to understand the full implications of the law and how it really affects people. But our review of it preliminarily looks like it's not going to do what it really is meant to do, which is keep people out of Chapter 7. We think that a lot of the people that we see are still going to qualify to go through bankruptcy just as they can do today. There may be a few more hoops to jump through, but we think in general people will still qualify to go in and get that relief.
And there will be some extra requirements if you want to file Chapter 7. We're going through that with people now, you know, talking to them about their situations, whether they should file now or possibly, you know, wait until a little later on in the year. So people are coming in on our free appointment and asking that question, and we're trying to, as best we can, to go through, you know, their situation and make recommendations. So just give us a call at the office if you're having some financial difficulty and want to go over your situation with us. Our phone number's on the screen throughout the show. Martin and I will be right back after the break.
Financial problems, repossessions, foreclosures, it could happen to anyone.
Perhaps it starts with a layoff or medical bill, divorce, or disability. At some point, you realize you just can't dig out by yourself.
There may be a way to get a second chance. At Lewis and Jurnovoy, we may be able to help you gain control of your financial life.
Call us. The appointment is free. Lewis and Jurnovoy.
We have helped thousands of your friends and neighbors receive a second chance, and we may be able to help you too.
Remember the old-time neighborhood service station? You know, the one where they actually service your car. Well, it's not a thing of the past at Atkinson's BP, located at 2800 East Cervantes Street. Ray Atkinson has been a service station dealer for over 34 years. Mr. Atkinson and his sons, Tim and Larry, believe in quality service and repair. Come to Atkinson's BP at 2800 East Cervantes.
Nestled in the historic buildings of downtown Pensacola is a place where you'll find a wonderful assortment of your favorite bakery delights. It's Pittman's Bakery, Pensacola's best-kept secret. Choose from a large variety of chocolates to baked items such as croissants, pastries, cakes, and even beignets. Pittman's has breakfast and even lunch specials daily. Come and sit in one of our dining rooms and enjoy your meal. Pittman's Bakery is located on Jefferson Street, just behind the Sanger Theater. 432-6918.
At Pensacola Hardware, we've got everything for the gourmet cook. We have the best selection and prices on all Clad cookware, the cookware used by Emerald. Pensacola Hardware also carries a full line of cast iron cookware, plus all the accessories for making sushi. See Pensacola Hardware for all the tools used by the pros. Microplane graters and zesters, Silpat silicone bakery sheets, chef's torches, and many others. Pensacola Hardware is your local dealer for Wusthof hand-forged cutlery, the best on the market today. Whatever you need, come see us. We've either got it or we can get it. Pensacola Hardware, 20 East Gregory Street, downtown.
Welcome back to the Bankruptcy Hour. My name is Steve Jurnovoy, and I'm here with my partner, Martin Lewis, and we're from the law firm of Lewis and Jurnovoy, located downtown. Martin and I are here taking some phone calls on Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So give us a call here on the show. We're always happy to help anyone, and we have a free appointment at the office, and you can call, set up an appointment, and come talk to us about your financial situation. And, you know, Martin, right before the break, we were discussing the new bankruptcy law and some of its effects. And, you know, I guess people are out there kind of not really sure what they're doing, but there's a lot of people out there that have thought, well, you know, I really don't want to file bankruptcy, and they kind of, you know, keep putting the decision off, and they may end up needing a bankruptcy. But I guess this is the time now to take advantage of our free appointment, you know, if you're on the bubble.
Stephen, it really is, because it will affect some people, and some people who qualify today to go through bankruptcy will not qualify when October comes around. And if you think that you're on the bubble or you're not sure, come in and see us and let us go over it with us. Everyone that comes in to see us doesn't need a bankruptcy now or later. There are other ways to resolve financial problems, but as Stephen indicated, there are people who are just hanging on by a thread, and you know, they may get caught in this new law trap in October, which prevents them from getting what they could get today.
And Martin, we have plenty of people that come in on our free appointment who, you know, don't use our services, and they want to keep trying, and maybe a year and a half down the road, they end up coming back and saying, well, you know, we tried the best we could, but it just didn't work. We're nowhere further than we were when we saw you a year and a half, 2 years ago. And, you know, it's admirable that they tried for another year and a half, but, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work, and no matter what you do, you know, that interest rate is so high and you have so much credit card debt that you can basically only pay the interest, and you're never going to get anywhere. Let's take another call.
All right.
Debbie, welcome to the show. How can we help you?
Yes, I'd like to know the basic differences between the old bankruptcy laws and the new ones, and when it comes in effect, and the other, well, that's pretty much it.
That's a tough question, Debbie, because the new law is so overwhelming that we don't know all the differences. And as I indicated before, we may not know for several years until us lawyers have to get in there and litigate some of these things. Some of the new law, we don't even know if it's constitutional or not. Some of the things I will tell you, as that we've indicated, is most of the law will not go into effect until later this year in October. Some of the law has gone into effect, which deals with homestead. They're going to require people to go through certain types of tests to qualify to file either Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 bankruptcy beginning in October. We may be exempt from that type of testing depending on where you live. Now, there's credit counseling that's required. There's more education required for people going through bankruptcy, which means you'll have to attend some type of courses. There's also a formula that's going to go into place in October, and we have to put each person's budget through this formula basically to see if they can qualify. It is extremely complicated. There's nothing clear. It's as murky as can possibly be, and again, it will take several years to figure out what this law actually says, okay? And if you're not sure of whether you need to file bankruptcy or not, or whether you're going to be caught in this new law, you may want to come ahead in and see us and take advantage of our free appointment and let us go over it with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Does this mean that if you file before October, those laws won't affect you?
Most likely that would be correct. But again, it just depends. If you're telling me you just moved here from the state of New Jersey and you just bought $1 million home, the law affects you immediately right now today. If you've been living here for several years, chances are the law has no impact on you at this time.
Another thing, Martin, if you filed a bankruptcy previously, you're allowed to file as of now every 6 years another Chapter 7 case, but under the new law, that's going to go to once every 8 years, and people can get caught in that trap if they wait until October to file if they've had a previous bankruptcy.
Okay, I have one more question.
Okay, you're doing good.
Do all of your bills need to be past due to file bankruptcy? Can you be current and file bankruptcy when you've had a disability?
Absolutely, and the reason why I tell you that is a lot of people who come in to see us are current on their bills. But the only reason why they're current is because they're doing the robbing Peter to pay Paul thing. So they're borrowing money from here, paying it there, borrow, pay. So a lot of people who are current is what we would call a false positive, that they're really not current, but for the borrowing of all the money. So absolutely, we see people who are current on their bills, but that need to file a bankruptcy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks for the call.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Walter, welcome to the show. How can we help you?
So, I noticed last week you had on the news about Citibank and Bank of America was going to...
They jacked up their late fees and they're over the limit fees.
Is that what you're talking about?
The minimum payments.
Yep.
Right.
Do they have to give you a notice?
Well, they'll probably send a notice out in the mail.
Yes, sir.
So anytime they do something, they probably do have to give you a notice, but they're allowed to do it. So the notice it's just what it says it is. It's telling you they're going to do it. So you can't, it's in the agreement when you sign at the bottom of the agreement that, they can make changes, and they do, in fact, do it. And your question is really good, and where we thought you were going for it, well, this new bankruptcy law we were talking about, the credit card companies basically drove this new law. And they're saying, well, if we get this new law, we'll be able to, whether it's reduce interest rates or, not charge as much for late fees, we're not going to lose as much money on people who aren't paying. But, the next thing they do is a week or 2 weeks after they pass this bankruptcy bill, they increase everyone's minimum payment from 2% to 4%. They jacked up late fees another $10 or $20 a month, and they also raised interest rates on the card. So at the same time where they got a big victory with this new bankruptcy law, or they think they got a new big victory, they're really pounding the consumers, and they're just, really beating them. So it's like a no-win situation for the public out there. And the credit card companies are just, they're being monsters.
All right, and it's really a shame. And Congress has basically told the credit card companies, go for it. Hammer the American people, because they could have limited all of this in the new bankruptcy bill. We had the opportunity to limit late fees and over the limit fees and cap interest rates that credit card companies can charge. And that all came before Congress, and they said, no, we don't want any of this. Let's let the credit card companies hammer the American people. They're running a business. We're in a real weak position with the credit card companies. I mean, they change these agreements willy-nilly all the time, and there's really not much we can do about it.
And the other big complaint, Martin, that we've seen a lot lately is, when people are paying on one credit card and they're doing okay, and maybe they miss, a payment on their second one, well, the second one will jack the interest rate up to 30%. And all of a sudden you get that notice in the mail saying the one that you're current on, now they're jacking their rate up to 30%. Right. And you could have made all your payments over a 10-year period on time each and every month, and they're still doing that. And they're allowed to do that, and a lot of people fall into problems when that happens if they have 3 or 4 different credit cards and they've been paying on them. But now, instead of an 8% interest rate, these things get jacked up to 30%, and they can't they can't afford it. That's when they get into problems.
Right.
Yeah, that's what is about to happen to me.
Well, we offer the free appointment, so feel free to come in and see us. We're always happy to talk with people about it. You know, these credit cards and the solicitations, it's that's all right. Hey, hand those credit card solicitations to your dog and let your dog chew those things up. So, I mean, it's just annoying when you get the solicitation in the mail and it's got this little card in it, because I like to open them and see, and it says, in big red letters, it says, important. Read this, and then it says, if you have one credit card, it's okay to get another one. And then if you flip it over, it says the same thing on the back side, and they all do that now. They all want you to just spend and spend into debt and just pay them forever. And that's really the goal of the credit card company. Please don't pay the balance. Pay me interest. Pay me a payment for the rest of your life. So.
Well, I know there was one more thing I want to ask you.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
But you know how they have like a rejection thing? Sometimes they have a notice where you can reject it.
Right.
Would you happen to know?
No, I think you can do that, but I think that it does. What it does is it ends your account. So if you have an open account and you have $3,000 of credit left, if you reject what they're going to change your terms as, that's fine, but now your account is what your account is. You can't borrow anymore. It doesn't mean that you have to go pay it off, but you're really probably right there with your account. So again, these things are extremely complicated, these credit card agreements, and they're very tilted towards the issuer of the credit and away from us, the consumer. Okay? If you feel like we can help you out, just give us a call and make an appointment at the office.
Okay, Martin, we're going to have to take another short break, and when we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about Chapter 7 and get into some of the issues on Chapter 13, which is the repayment plan. Give us a call at the office if you want to take advantage of our free appointment. Our phone number is on the screen throughout the show. We'll be right back.
If you're like me, you get dozens of credit card offers each month. And well, if you need the money, it's easy to sign up. But then, if you have trouble making the payments, what sounded like a good idea could quickly become a nightmare.
It starts with harassing phone calls morning and night, and you may be afraid you'll lose your house and car.
But there may be a way out. At Lewis and Jurnovoy, we may be able to consolidate your bills into one low monthly payment or eliminate some of those debts entirely.
Lewis and Jurnovoy, we may be able to help.
This is Mark Hinote at Tire Trust, your one-stop shop for all your automotive needs at 10 West Gregory Street, downtown Pensacola. From batteries to tires, from brake jobs to oil changes, alignments to balancing, we service all makes and all models. We even offer a free pickup and delivery service. So while you're hard at work, we are too, getting your car ready for you. Give us a call at 438-6789. For fast, convenient, and courteous service you can trust, Tire Trust.
For over 75 years, Vicks Cleaners has been taking the best care of our dry cleaning and laundry needs. They must be doing something right. Special needs such as police and military uniforms have been Vicks Cleaners' trademark for decades. But of course, the people doing the work are the most important, and at Vicks Cleaners, the people care about your cleaning and laundry needs. And there is a Vicks location near you.
Divorce. Chances are you thought this would never happen to you.
Perhaps you, like most of us, thought that you would be married forever.
My name is Craig Vigodsky with the firm of Metter & Vigodsky. Right now you face some big decisions: child custody, support, alimony. These are difficult issues that will affect you and your children for years to come.
We will do our best to help you make decisions for you and your children.
Remember the name Metter & Vigodsky. Should the need arise, give us a call.
Welcome back to the Bankruptcy Hour. My name's Steve Jurnovoy, and I'm here with my partner, Martin Lewis, and we're from the law firm of Lewis and Jurnovoy, located downtown. Martin and I are here taking phone calls on Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and you can give us a call at the office to set up a free appointment. And Martin, right before the break, I guess it was kind of like the credit card bashing session, but they pretty much deserve it. And,
Right.
And, you know, Martin and I are not telling you not to pay your credit card debt, but what we are telling you to do is before you pay your credit card debt, make sure that your other bills are paid, make sure that all your necessities are paid, you get the mortgage, the car payment, make sure there's food on the table for the kids, and then whatever's left, that's what you use to pay the credit cards, because a lot of people reverse that order and start paying the credit cards first and then run into trouble when they run out of money at the end of the month, and that's when the house payment's not made or the car payment's not made, and you are in jeopardy of losing those things if you're not making the payments on them.
Stephen, you know, it's rare that we see people who have just one credit card. And you got to ask yourself, why do I need more than one credit card? Why do I need plastic for 5 department store cards, three different gas stations, 4 Visas, 3 MasterCards? Why do we need all of this? Because we don't have enough money. We're spending more money than we have. And that's why people have all these credit cards. Steve and I see people with $10,000 of credit card debt, $80,000, $100,000. We have clients with over $200,000 of credit card debt. And it can be a big problem. It's not enough just to make a minimum payment on a credit card. The question you have to ask yourself is, what am I doing? Where am I going? When am I going to pay off these debts? Is the payment I'm making today going to take me out of debt tomorrow? Now, Steve and I have run some numbers on the show over the years, and I'll run them for you right now again. If you owe $5,000 on a credit card and your interest rate is 18%, and you make the minimum payment on time each and every month and never charge again on it, it will take a little over 26 years to pay that one credit card back. Just imagine when your rate shoots up to 30%, as they do, you know, we see them every week. I mean, you can't ever pay these things off.
And it gets to be a lifelong obligation, Martin, and it's just a problem. You know, just because you make your minimum payments doesn't mean you don't have a problem. So we get a lot of people in the office that come in, I'm current on my cards, my credit's great, I'm making my minimum payments, and, you know, I'll ask them, well, what's happening with the balances? Well, nothing. They're about the same, and, you know, I'm just not getting them down. And, you know, that's what, as Martin mentioned earlier, that's kind of like a false positive, because you are making your payments, but if you have $30,000 of debt and you're not getting anywhere paying off that $30,000, that's where the problem is. And, you know, if you can't get that $30,000 paid off, and that's when you have to consider, you know, a bankruptcy as an option, because it's always going to be there and it's just going to get worse.
Stephen, and we waste so much money in this country paying interest. Even our country's a big leader and a big debtor nation that we have. We spend so much money in interest each year as individuals. Just think if we had all that money back and we had it in our bank account, then we could afford to do this and afford to do that. But sometimes it just piles up over the years, and there really is no other alternative but the bankruptcy to get you out of the debt.
And Martin, the last few minutes of the show, I wanted to spend a little time on Chapter 13, which is the repayment plan. And it's a debt consolidation, and it's used in several situations. 2 of the most important ones are if you're behind on your house and your car. So after a couple months, the mortgage company is not going to take your money anymore if you miss some payments, and eventually, after probably 3 or 4 months, you'll get a foreclosure notice in the mail, or it'll get, you know, served on you, where they can try to take your house. And we can use Chapter 13 to protect the house and to put all your past due mortgage payments on this plan and save the house. And it works really well, and we can stop the sale of the house until I guess, until they sell it on the courthouse steps.
That's exactly right, Stephen. And Chapter 13 is very powerful. Like Stephen said, we use it for houses, we use it for cars. So some people who are 2 or 3 months behind on their car payments, they're in jeopardy of repossession. We can take the entire car balance and put it inside the plan of repayment along with the other debts and force a repayment against your creditors. At the same time, you get the protection of the bankruptcy laws, which means the repo man has to go away. Your car can't be repossessed. Like Stephen said, if your house is in foreclosure and you file Chapter 13, the foreclosure stops, the lawsuit stops, the garnishment stops, the seizure of the bank account stops, the phone calls stop, the letters stop, the bills stop. This is some of what bankruptcy does for people. It takes some of the heat off of you, takes the pressure off, give you an opportunity to reorganize, to get your life back in order, for you to be in control of your life financially instead of everybody telling you how to control your money and how to spend your money. This will all of a sudden start to give you some control and hopefully some peace of mind.
And Martin, in addition to the house and the car, we can also put your credit card debt in there, past due child support, taxes. The interest generally stops on your credit cards, and so we can get them all into one kind of payment, and it can be, you know, make sure it meets your budget and that you can afford the payment to the court. And most important thing about Chapter 13 is if you can't afford to pay all your creditors in full, you don't have to. As long as you meet certain requirements, they can get 10 cents on the dollar, and that's about it. And that's when you come into our office, Martin and I will craft a plan that meets your budget, and we're going to make sure that the people who have to get paid are paid, and then whatever's left is left for these other unsecured creditors. And they, like I said, they may only get 10 cents on the dollar.
Stephen, also in Chapter 13, in a vast majority of these cases, we put our legal fees in the repayment plan, so most people don't pay us any legal fees prior to filing the case. Most people will pay their court costs, which are today $194 is what the court charges you to file Chapter 13. We think that that number is going to change any day now because of the new law, that they're going to jack up the court costs.
All right, Martin, we're about at the end of the show.
Okay, Stephen, all of our viewers should remember that the hiring of a lawyer, it's an important decision. It shouldn't be based solely upon an advertisement. Before you decide, ask us to send you free written information regarding our qualifications and our experience.
I'd like to thank everyone for all the phone calls today. They really help everyone else out there. Give us a call at the office. We're here to help you. People come in all the time and they don't necessarily file a bankruptcy, but we can probably provide some good advice. So give us a call. It's a free appointment. Our phone number's on the screen, and we'll see you next week.
It's happening now. The Dodge Memorial Day sales event. Get great deals on Grand Caravan with stow-and-go seating and storage, Dodge Ram with Hemi Power, the all-new Dakota, the versatile Magnum, and the big size and smooth ride of Durango. Right now, qualified returning Daimler Chrysler lessees can lease a Grand Caravan SXT with available stow-and-go seating and storage for just $259 a month. Hurry in for great deals on the Dodge lineup at the Memorial Day sales event. Offers end May 31st.
On the next Gene Pauley Show, do your kids love to play video games?
I probably play 3 to 4 hours of video games a day.
But at what point does fun?
But it can turn into aggression sometimes.
Turn into an unhealthy obsession.
I started noticing I was like really addicted when I was just like malnourished looking.
His blood pressure during the last round maxed out at 190 over 144.
How to protect your kids from video game addiction on the next Gene Pauley Show.
Weekdays at 1, only on WJHG.
For the latest and hottest in hair fashion, stop by Hairbenders. Hairbenders has experienced hairstylists not only in cuts, but also highlights and color. Hairbenders uses only the finest quality products on your hair. Tired of short hair? Stop by Hairbenders for the newest rage, hair extensions. Treat yourself to a manicure or pedicure. Hairbenders is conveniently located at 8021 Front Beach Road in Panama City Beach. Call or stop by for your appointment.
I had no idea my daughter was taking drugs.
I started smoking pot when I was 14.
At 15, I was on the streets doing whatever I had to do.
My parents never really knew where I was. They thought they did.
Whatever it was he was doing, he didn't want me to know. He didn't want anybody in the family to know.
I already did alcohol and I already knew what pot was about, so why not do cocaine?
I started smoking crack at 15. I took LSD 2-3 times a week.
When my family found out I was on drugs, they were just horrified.
He was not raised to be brought home in handcuffs.
And I remember my mother saying to me, "You're going to die if you don't get help." I wanted to have my family back, and that's when my mother found Narconon.
If you or someone you love has a drug or alcohol problem, call Narconon today at 1-800-468-6933.
Healthy Living, weekday mornings on News Channel 7 Today.
Today, Seniors for Seniors takes a moment to speak to our guest, Beth Collette, Director of the Bay County Council on Aging. Beth has been the Executive Director of the Bay County Council on Aging for 24 years. She earned her bachelor's degree from the University of West Florida in psychology and has a certificate for managing government in Florida and management training from the University of Georgia. She serves on a number of local advisory boards and is the president of the Florida Association of Aging Service Providers. Let us now join our Seniors for Seniors, hosts Dick and Francis Edelin, in welcoming our guest to the program. And I'm your announcer, Vonda Borgerson.
Hi, Ms. Collette. We're glad to have you on our Seniors for Seniors show. We're looking forward to some interesting conversation about the Bay County Council on Aging.
Thanks for asking me. I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you.
Well, we're happy to have you as always, because we remember when we were getting started, the role that the Bay County Council on Aging played in helping us get this program going, and we appreciate your support and happy to work with you and everything. But before we get into the gist of our program and all the information you're going to share with us tonight, I'd like to ask you, we're in the middle of May. June 1st is hurricane season. And I think a lot of people in the community do not know the role